I'm Jayne Sanders. I'm a purpose coach, purpose consultant, and a master scientific hand analyst. Well, what in the world is that? So let me ask you a few questions. How would your company change if you were able to accurately identify a powerful and highly accurate assessment tool that really helped you manage and lead more effectively while increasing engagement, productivity, and retention? That's how scientific hand analysis, the top line of how it works and how it can make a difference in your company. So one of the first questions I get about this work is, how did I get involved in this? I have a corporate background, MBA, so I'm not somebody you'd point to walking down the street and say, oh, there goes a hand analyst. I was looking for my purpose. I've had 3 prior careers, executive level in different companies, but was never really happy. I knew I wasn't on it. I was successful, and each career lasted longer than the one prior, which I realized later I was closer to purpose, and that's why. But I finally just hit a wall, and I was like, I know I'm not on it. I'm off track, but I don't know what it looks like. And I had worked with career coaches. I'd read all the books. Nothing seemed to help me. So many people, and you know this as a leader, aren't happy in their work. More than half of people, Harvard Business Review a few years ago quoted 70%. So I don't know what the current rate is, but it's between 60 and 75% would be my educated expert guess. So that's how I got involved in this work. What we learn from it is our innate purpose, not a job description. That would be crazy. But it's the most specific and comprehensive description of the concept behind your ideal work that's available. Because believe me, I tried everything. And everybody has options. There's no one job that somebody's supposed to be in. It's the concept that we're meant to fulfill. That makes sense. It identifies your special gifts, the strengths you have, the capabilities that you have in areas, and the gifts are very, very important. We also learn the challenges, blind spots that trip us up in all aspects of our life. And I think we're all savvy enough to know now we can't compartmentalize. Anything that sounds like or looks like it's only in our personal life, it's going to impact our professional life and vice versa. One of the key aspects of this is that every marking in the hands has both a master path and a student path. Master path feels good in the flow. The more master paths we're on, the easier it is to live in alignment with our innate purpose. And living in alignment with purpose, that's how we get that more consistent joy and fulfillment and meaning out of life that everybody craves. We think we crave happiness. We crave meaning because that's what's going to get us joy and happiness. Student paths don't feel so good. The student paths cause all the yucky feelings in life. I call them the little yuckies and the big yuckies. Bored, stuck, overwhelmed, confused, feeling off track, feeling like something's missing, frustrated, procrastinating, relationship challenges, money stuff, even some health things. And the more student paths we're on, the more challenging it is to live in alignment with purpose. They block our way. So the idea is to take action on the student paths. Now the kicker is nobody can be on the master path of any marking 100% of the time. We're humans, right? Works in progress. It's like a blueprint, giving us our North Star, our direction, our guide to the best life and our gifts. So this blueprint tells us what our gifts are, what our North Star is, and what action to take to get there and to use those gifts. It identifies capacities in different areas. It can help with relationship all kinds of relationships, not just romance, but business relationships, professional, platonic, family. So capacities for leadership, creativity, communication, it's just never ending. I mean, how we think, how we make decisions, very comprehensive information and deep. The science behind it, the lines in your hands actually mimic the neural pathways in your brain. The gentleman that put this database together took 40 years, talk about anal, and analyzed over 30,000 hands. That's more subjects than any FDA drug that's been approved. So 30,000 hands, and he put this database together. He wrote a book about part of it, and the foreword to that book was written by a neurosurgeon from Stanford, who has since retired, but who used scientific hand analysis with his patients. And by the way, there's hundreds of scientific hand analysts around the world. They just don't talk about it. So because my background is corporate, that's where I shine, is going into companies with it, and I can make a bigger impact. So that helps fulfill my purpose even deeper, which really turns me on. So, and I love working with leaders because I can see the difference that this work makes. Regardless of all the different ways that I can work with a company, the number one step is to do a hand analysis for the leader, either the leader of the division that I'm in, of the company, however, whatever that group is, so that they can really understand the depth and power and accuracy of this work and use the information themselves to be even better leaders and more authentic role models. So other things leaders can use this for: identifying career tracks, rewarding performance as a gift, and with, it's such a cool assessment that it's kind of a reward and really engages people just in of itself. Just being able to really understand who you are and own it and step into it. I have goosebumps. Yeah, there's other assessments, definitely, and they're very helpful. The Myers-Briggs, the Strength Finders, the DISC. I've done them all. None of them identify purpose, and they also are dependent to some degree on how the questions are written, the mood of the person filling out the forms and answering the questions, what score they're trying to get, how they interpret those questions. Hand analysis is completely independent of anything the person thinks or says because it's already etched in their hands. The words that people use are freaky accurate, jaw-dropping, spot on. I had one CEO who kept saying, "How do you know this about me?" And I told him, "It's in your hands." "No, but really, how do you know this about me?" I'm like, "It's in your hands. It's etched in your hands." So it's actionable. That's one of the very powerful things about this. The benefits are never ending. So for example, leaders can use this to be more authentic to their true selves, therefore be better role models, be better leaders. They can use it to manage their teams if they knew all this information about each team member. As I mentioned before, assign projects, place employees in the best positions. I mean, so much attrition is a concern, rightly so now, where leaders are concerned about team members, employees, looking and going outside to get fulfilled. Maybe looking for other jobs, finding their joy outside of work. Whoa. I think that's why it's so important for leaders and companies to really focus on engagement and do some different things to pull them back in. So by knowing their employees or their team members' gifts and purpose and managing based on that, and bringing in activities that support that, assigning projects that support those gifts and purpose. It helps identify and team members' potential relevant to leadership, communication, creativity, problem solving, teamwork, reliability, work ethic. All those capacities can show up in hand analysis. The teams can learn their overall purpose. Regardless of all the different ways I can work with a team, with an entire company, with a group, the first step will always be a full hand analysis for the leader of that group or division or company, so that they can understand and experience the depth and comprehensive nature and accuracy of this work, use the information to be more authentic role models themselves, maybe help other areas of their life as well. And so that when they get the information, the hand analysis results from their team members, they can relate to it. They can understand it better. They know what to do with the information. There's a numerical system involved in this, in scientific hand analysis. So if I did a hand analysis for the members of a cohesive team, I can put a matrix together, pretty complex, and then flush out the overall purpose of the team and the overall gifts and blind spots or the key student paths that are involved. When you know the overall purpose of the team and then work towards that and get their input on what that could look like and what they'd like it to look like, especially the younger, millennials and Zs. Oh yeah, baby. Give them say in it and utilize their gifts. Help them get alignment with purpose with your own activities and management, project assignment, position assignment. That can definitely pull them back in and keep them on site with you. The ideal recipient of this work in the corporate world, in the company world, is a progressive thinking leader who knows they need to do something different, take different action. We can't keep doing the same thing and expect the same results. Somebody who is excited about an innovative and unique way to approach these issues of attrition and lack of engagement, low morale, problems with productivity. They just know they got to do something different, something that will catch their employees, their team's attention. Well, scientific hand analysis will certainly do that. And I do want to say, rarely is somebody shocked by the information that comes from their hands. Sometimes with the gifts that they have, if they haven't been using them, or if they've been using them so much they just feel like a part of them and they feel natural and it doesn't feel like any big deal. But let me tell you that gifts that show up in the hands are a big deal. But usually people aren't shocked, especially by the student paths, by the tripping points, the areas where they need to take action. What they don't realize until after the hand analysis is how much those student paths or tripping points are impacting all areas of their life. And that's why it's so powerful and empowering to know what those tripping points are, how they're impacting them so they can take action on them. Sometimes it's a little tiny action, sometimes it's more work, but either way, it's deeply beneficial. And it also helps them step into who they are and their strengths and their gifts and own them and have confidence. Kind of gives them permission to just do it and be that person and be accountable for who they are and what they're capable of doing. The confidence that comes from this, the validation, clarity, peace of mind to know what your purpose is, particularly when it validates what you're doing. And if you're not doing what's in alignment with purpose, number one, you already know it because you're not happy in some way. There's something missing off track. And when that comes up on one of your team members, that's where it's important to assign projects that support that person's gifts and purpose, and put them in a position that uses those gifts and purpose, which will re-engage them, increase their morale and productivity, and help with retention. A lot of people who come to me, leaders or not, feel like something's missing, like they're off track. Another way some people articulate that is this all there is? Isn't there more to life? Yes, there is. And scientific hand analysis in that blueprint, in that comprehensive download of information, is the blueprint to filling that hole. That's another way people say there's just a hole, something's not right. They're bored, something's missing. So by knowing what their gifts are, getting guidance on how to use those, making sure they are in alignment with purpose. If they're not, it doesn't mean they have to leave what they're doing. They just might need to add something to it, or bring in projects that are more motivating to them. So frequent feedback involves how deeply someone feels seen and understood after a hand analysis. I would say 50% of my female clients cry because it so touches them. And about 10% of my men clients choke up because they feel so seen and understood and validated. And it's like, and they get themselves. Not to mention, it helps team members understand each other better. But I guarantee you, people like myself who are in alignment with purpose and using their gifts are not asking the question, is this all there is?